The path to self-realization and subsequently freedom from bondage is extremely simple, but has been portrayed as extremely difficult by the adherents of the Indian yogic systems to such an extent that it cannot be comprehended anymore. But it is your birthright to find freedom in this life and achieve the state of the Jivan Mukta, or liberated in life. But why have you made the truth so difficult to understand and complicate its process of comprehension? And more so, you've done it consciously. Is it because its simplicity hits you straight in the face and it is too large and confusing for the mind to decipher? Or is it because you like the life that you live and want to have nothing to do with it? Let us begin with the understanding that your mind is controlled by your conditioning and is attached to some preconceived notion and outlook born from your genetics and the environment it has been exposed to. You disguise the truth to make it more acceptable in the face of this conditioning and, in the process, dilute it to fall in line and suit your convenience. Because of this, there is a false sense of complacency, and you find yourself accepting your circumstances and your situation and the people that bring about it, giving this misguided sense of security and happiness. Your individuality and your independence is complete self-delusion that makes you believe that the world that you have created in your mind is real. And in this deception, the ego uses the mind to make choices as an act of will. Remember that you live in a bubble, fooling yourself and trying your entire life unsuccessfully to fit your world into it. You are free until you make a choice. But once you make a choice, that choice shall run your life. Each choice that you make has its own consequences, and these consequences result in a further series of choices and tribulations that are born from it, at the end of which you are so far removed from yourself, getting frustrated, tired, rejected, and unhappy, that completely led astray, you feel inadequate and incomplete. This is because every time you use your own will, which is born from your ego, you are going against the universal will, and this will definitely lead you to pain and suffering. Freedom is surrendering your attachments and your ego and ridding yourself from the mistaken notion that you are the center of the world and the world revolves around you, and that you're the most important person in this universe. The state of total freedom, you must remember, is a completely choiceless state. I repeat, a completely choiceless state. This surrendering is actually letting go. And unlike what has been discussed among the thinkers and philosophers, it cannot be an act of will or prostrating at the feet of a guru or through the worship of a god. In fact, All these are symbolic of this letting go. And with this paradigm shift, a debt to all that you have built up for and through yourself. It is the letting go of all your material, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual possessions. It is the letting go of yourself. Further, to go on living without the background of a past which has so far defined you and is the very basis of who you are signifies a life changing upheaval within, a new beginning, and a revolutionary new way of life. Because both psychologically and physiologically, from now on, you live moment to moment in the present with the unknown. Embracing uncertainty, you live totally without precedent, in the present, everywhere, and as nobody. Life then acquires a new meaning, a new perspective, and a new dimension. And the ultimate joy born from the recognition that you are nothing, you need nothing, and you want nothing, as you are all within yourself and the universe is within you. Having cast off all your psychological baggage and your habits, there is nothing to protect any longer, nor have you anything to prove to yourself and to the universe. Whatever you do as action, you do so without expectation of results. Thus, if you take your spirituality seriously, you'll be watchful of your entire life, of your thoughts, of your speech, of your action, and continuously monitoring of your ego that covers you like an invisible cocoon, closing you out and separating you from the universal flow of grace. It is more subtle than that. The very practice of seeing oneself as one is constantly a composite of thoughts, ideas, and images without inherent reality, but given continuity by memory and habit, is the prime mover for this transformation. This is meditation. When this bizarre notion is exposed for what it is, truth exerts itself on its own accord. The universe comes together to set you free. This is grace. You were your own biggest obstacle, and now you have moved out of your own way. This is true spirituality, because now you are one with yourself and completely unified with your soul. Physical survival loses its compelling force and the undue importance you have given it all along. You walk the earth free and light and without hindrances. Freed from bondage, you are the personification of truth and morality, because there are no selfish desires left. Hence, you do not need any religious or moralistic injunctions to live righteously. This has been your journey and your journey alone, from nowhere to nowhere, and the entire universe traveled. Your selfish motives do not allow you to live by the truth. In fact, it is intrinsically impossible, for the very basis of your life is immorality. You live a lie and contradict your very own basis all the time. Thus, the need for society to create religions as a system of social, moral restraint in order to protect itself from its own dark excesses and give the unacceptable social sanctity, and in this manner maintaining a false sense of equilibrium. And in this, all religions have failed miserably over time, and the worshipping of false gods, propagation of lies, and creation of myths and mythologies have been their vehicle of propagation and the bane of all mankind. And by upholding these man-made ideals, sanctioned by some scriptures, or by spiritual visions, or by divine revelations, you give yourself reason to stay with the herd and not to embark on this quest for the self, because nobody around you seems to be doing so. With this realization and freedom from this, you become your true self. The first realization that you get as you learn to flow with the universe as one is that it is a perfect universe. For the first time in your life, you have the fortune to wait and watch the play of life as an observer. And you'll be amazed to see how everything in this universe fits in, and the unity of all things. The universe is one, and one is all. The second realization is that perfection is an absolute concept. So, to maintain the state of perfection and balance, the universe is constantly changing. To maintain this equilibrium so that it is always perfect. The third realization is that it is a highly intelligent universe because it runs everything perfectly. This will lead to the understanding that if it runs perfectly, it will take care of you just as it takes care of all that there is. The fourth realization is that since this supreme intelligence evolves its plan as it goes along, it also has a plan for you. But to understand this, you have to master the art of flowing and go along with the universe. You have to abide in a complete egoless state, trusting it and constantly changing yourself to the universal will. Freedom, I repeat, freedom is the state of complete acceptance. The fifth realization is that since it is a perfectly intelligent universe, it is a universe in synchronicity, completely spontaneous and independent, and yet in total harmony. When a woman conceives, milk automatically begins to flow. Nothing needs to be done. In fact, the universe is infinite creativity and joyous celebration. That is why perhaps the God of man is called the Creator. Now, having realized these 5 realizations, what happens to you? You become love. Love is the only truth in living, and there is nothing else. That is the only purpose of life. It is all about giving and rejoicing in this joy. And experiencing this is called bliss. You give all of yourself to the universe as you become one with it. You become its expression. Each moment of love is eternal, and eternity lives in each moment. To experience love in your lifetime is grace, and to become one with it, to become the expression of the universe, is liberation. Giving back to the universe all the love that it has given you. You shine in the radiance of love, live in the spirit of freedom, and rest in the fullness of peace. You have now fulfilled the destiny of man.